Business structures. What makes a cooperative unique? There are many ways individuals can work together to achieve a goal. Depending on the group's objective, some utilize an informal structure, such as an association or a collaborative. Other groups require a formal business structure to achieve the desired outcome. Example of an informal collaboration is a group of farmers that are raising the same livestock and they want to work together to purchase feed as a group to achieve cost savings. Example of a formal structure is a nonprofit, an organization of growers that sponsor activities and programs that help the growers achieve success in management, small business creation, promotion, and development. A cooperative is a legal business structure. CHS is the nation's largest agricultural cooperative. It's owned by farmers, ranchers, and co-ops across the United States. Their portfolio includes a global energy, grains, food businesses, and their goal is to really help producers, co-ops, and other stakeholders grow those businesses. So regardless whether it's an informal or a formal group, they are all composed of members who are working together to achieve a common goal. Business activities and objectives dictate whether the formal structure is necessary or an informal structure will suffice. A cooperative is one of 6 legal business structures. Business structures are outlined in state statutes. For instance, here in Ohio, the cooperative statute is outlined in Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 1729. Be sure to understand the nuances of your state's association statutes, and that information is available to you online through the Secretary of your state. The other legal business structures are a sole proprietorship, a partnership, LLC, corporation, and nonprofit. Each business structure has advantages and disadvantages. Ownership of a sole proprietor is limited to a single individual. A partnership, LLC, corporation, nonprofit, or cooperative, more than one individual can have ownership over these business structures. In a co-op, the user members, which can be individuals or entities, own the cooperative business. So these are the folks that are actually using the cooperative to do business. The purpose of the business is usually to return on the owner investment. In the case of a nonprofit, it's to provide services or information. In the case of a cooperative, it's to meet the members' needs. So to meet those needs, the reason that the cooperative was formed. It also returns on the member investment through patronage. So the profits are shared back with the cooperative. Membership requirements vary across the different business structures. Corporations usually require a stock purchase. The amount of the stock purchase and what kind of stock is established in the foundational documents. The same is true of a cooperative, usually a stock purchase or a fee, a membership fee, to become a member of the cooperative, and the amount or the dollar value on the fee is established within the bylaws. Who uses the business? Within a cooperative, it's actually the majority of the members, the actual owners of the business that use the business. An example is a dairy cooperative where dairy farmers, own the business and then market their business through the cooperative. Voting rights are granted in all of the business structures, or the majority of the business structures. In a corporation, there's 1 vote per share. In a cooperative, there's 1 vote per member, typically, and each member has an equal vote within the cooperative. Management of the cooperative varies amongst the different business structures. Corporations, nonprofits, and cooperatives typically have a board of directors. Some have hired management, others do not have hired managers in a cooperative. Often with the developing groups that we work with, there's not hard management at the beginning, but that is one of the first goals of the cooperative. Financing a business is different depending on the structure that you choose. A sole proprietorship is typically financed by the owner investment. In a partnership, it's those initial partners that are financing the business. In an LLC, we call the owners members, and it's usually their investment or a financing vehicle. Within a corporation or a cooperative, it is through the sale of stock or shares in the cooperative, and also through retained profit. So that's how the business is financed. Nonprofits often utilize grants, also contributions or donations and fees to finance the business. Taxation is different depending on the business structure. Within a corporation, depending on how the corporation is incorporated, C Corps will pay the corporate rate, and shareholders will also pay an individual rate on capital gains and dividends. Within an S Corp, shareholders pay the individual rate on the profit share and capital gains. Nonprofits are typically exempt because they have a tax-exempt status. In a co-op, members pay on qualified distributions based on patronage. The co-op pays the corporate tax rate on non-qualified and unallocated profit. So profits from non-member business and equity dividends are also paid by the co-op. It's an advantage to the cooperative structure. Cooperatives also offer limited liability protection to the owners, similar to an LLC or a corporation, and unlike a partnership or sole proprietorship. Another big advantage of the cooperative is the antitrust protection, which you can read about more in the legislation module of Co-op Mastery. Subchapter T is a tax benefit that eases the change of member ownership to report their share of profit or loss in their personal tax return. A disadvantage of a cooperative that we didn't really touch on in this slide is that management is shared. Co-ops are also not eligible for some grants and tax exemptions, such as donations, like a nonprofit, and revenue realized by the nonprofits is not something that co-ops can take advantage of. In summary, when you're considering the different business structures, ways you can achieve your goal, there are a few steps. First, the group really needs to identify what the goal is, what's the purpose, what's your mission for working together. Next, determine if a formal business structure is necessary to achieve that desired outcome. The group I mentioned earlier that's purchasing feed may or may not have a need for a formal business structure to do that. Then you'll want to assess the 6 business structure and choose the best fit that's going to help you reach your goals. Last, assemble an informal organization or incorporate the formal business with the Secretary of the State.